of folks excited to hire someone with a past like mine. Which is why, when the trade authority offered to bring me on as a consultant, I leapt at the chance. Guess I should have spent a little more time on that fine print. That's right. UC shuttered it after the war. But I, just happened to remember the access codes. Figured no one else was using it. Plus, I knew the security was good enough that the trade authority couldn't just come waltzing in the door even if they figured out where I was. So, I set up shop. Lou hooked me up with some supplies when I first came down. Damn good thing he did, too. Since once those spacers moved in, I was on my own until you showed. Look, if you need some time to process... Not gonna bring this here and then leave me alone with my thoughts, are you? It's certainly not good. Terramorph attacks don't bother us in our daily lives because they're so infrequent. Londinian was horrible, but it was one rare exception. Another sample, though, gets us one step closer to it becoming the rule, which means we need to get this information into the right hands as soon as possible. The ultimate sin. I cut him out of a deal. Medicine can get tight on Mars. Mining's plenty dangerous. So I cooked up some meds on the side for an old friend who was running low. Well, that friend told her friends, and before I knew it, I'd become Mars' go-to black market pharmacist. Trade Authority eventually found out and wanted a piece of everything I sold, and then some. It was at that point I decided to take my leave of absence. Drift off on me?
How can I be of service, Captain? Hello. I am relieved you have given up on carrying everything yourself. Return soon.
Hey, how's it going?
My God, look at you. You're an old man now.
You're no hassling yourself anymore, Major. Our friend here showed me your sample. Suffice it to say,
Not here. Let's talk somewhere more private. Lou said we could use the back. Lou gave me the abridged version of what went down. Yeah, I can't thank you enough for taking care of all that.
makes two of us.
I hope it ultimately didn't end up being too much trouble. That's certainly not what I was expecting you'd have to go through. But thank you. I'm just glad you both came through intact. So, were you two able to get that workup together?
Got it right here. That sample? It's an exact match for the ones from Londinian.
Londinian. That's exactly what I was afraid of.
Not thrilled to be the bearer of that kind of news. That's for damn sure. So tell me you've got some kind of plan for that workup.
Well, right now, we've got more questions than answers. So I've been trying to figure out what it's gonna take to access our old Terramorph data.
Good place to start. What'd you find?
It's in the archives.
The Armistice Archives? Doesn't that mean we'd be dealing with the Cabinet? And the Freestar Collective? And House Varun somehow? Guess we can kiss that approach goodbye.
I didn't think the Cabinet would be willing to hear us out either. But I called in some favors. They've agreed to hear us out on two conditions. One, they want to see this analysis you two have procured. And two, they want to discuss what happened on Tau Ceti. With both of us. Well, that's about the best news I've had all day. But before you commit, I want to make sure you know the whole story. Percival and I, we're not just researchers. We were military scientists, ran a division of the UC together that deployed aliens on the battlefield as weapons.
Place I was hiding out. That was our unit's home base.
After some early fits and starts at other facilities, the place eventually became the heart of UC xeno-warfare. A practice that's been banned ever since the armistice went into effect almost 20 years ago. And the UC military cut us loose for what we'd done. What's wrong? No. We were both dismissed after the war for what we did. These days, we're just concerned citizens with a very particular area of expertise. Our damage has been done for a long time. Oh. Well, that means a lot. It's not something I'm exactly proud of. But it was during that assignment that the UC asked us to explore deploying terramorphs on the battlefield. The project never got off the ground, but the data our team gathered is now sitting in the archives, along with all the other information banned after the Colony War. Under the watchful eye of monitors from all the galactic factions still participating in regular politics. But if we can convince the cabinet to help us access that data, it'll give us the tools we need to decipher what exactly this sample might mean. And hopefully, how to prevent more attacks like the one that spawned it. All right. I'm gonna go get this work up into the cabinet's hands. I'll meet you out front of Mast in New Atlantis.
Good luck. You two are gonna need it.
Please report any spills or unsafe conditions on the island to the Sidonia Department of Public Works.
Dan responding to hail. You are cleared to dock. Welcome to UC Space.
Good to see you. If there's anything I can do for you, please, say the word. Yes, of course.
You should inspect your ship for heat leeches every couple landings. Need some work done? Nothing for us to do. You're in good flying condition.
I just thinking about you.
Safe out there.
Captain! Over here! The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC, it's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon. One-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin. A title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. I'm getting there. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death, on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or, if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars. The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything. The human eye included. Where the name Red Devils came from in the first place. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up. And the eyes were my parting gift. That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars. The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything. The human eye included. Where the name Red Devils came from in the first place. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up. And the eyes were my parting gift. I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being Fleet Admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of guardians instead. Until his defeat during the Colony War, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy. Perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me, too. But Victus, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life. It's hard to know exactly what might sway them. I'd just be honest about what you saw. A colony wiped out, and a lot of lives lost. Something we don't want anyone else to have to experience. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terramorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous. which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Ah, Captain. Congratulations on joining the ranks of the Vanguard. You're under arrest. No sudden moves. UC security always gets you in the end. Remember that.
Ah, crime has slowed down since you started helping out, which is good for morale. Not right now, Captain. I'd check with your contacts in the Vanguard and see if they have anything for you. I might have something for you later, it's just that their work takes precedence. See you later.
How are you today? Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
It's a little intimidating. I understand. That is something to consider. Though we also have to take into account the nature of the data you require.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic, and at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium.
I would also ask how many deaths the cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem at all alarming to you? Captain?
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives? That? I hadn't thought of that, Captain.
An excellent point indeed. The other powers would likely be much more inclined to work with us knowing that. Chief Diplomat.
That point is a good one. Very well, you have my agreement. The galaxy is lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that?
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God. There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, Order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
It was a pleasure to assist you, Captain.
Why? Why is it doing this?
Hostile target eradicated.
God you got here when you did. I just wish it hadn't come to that.
Yeah, what the hell happened back there, Captain? There's no excuse for using lethal force here. Or you could have used the EM gun like you were ordered. These are lives you're playing with here, so get your head in the game. Understand? Now, officer, the way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. We'd try, but some of the other officers...
Pheromonic project. Some Terramorph. It affects every... You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to...
Hello. No! I am satisfied to see returning to assignment, Captain. The enemy is approaching.
That's it! Now hit him with everything you've got!
Why? Why are you fighting me?
You're
Stop me. Please. God's...
I'm so excited to see Tony after work. One day, I'm gonna leave New Atlantis for good. Well, you know, wonder if my boy...
Anyone would do that. In public, no less. Oh, sure.
Take care.
Some people just have no shame. I want to suggest diverting funds to xenobiological research.
Hi. Please disregard. I attempted, and I have no objections.
You will be scanned as you enter the city.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precise. So now, we have access to a request. Now, Captain, perhaps you could summarize for the...
Madam President, while no one would... They've been happening to demand. Seems at best...
I would remind the chief diplomat. I would also add, because if
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt, the preservation of... Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack... I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one...
Just taking her word for it as well, then.
So it would seem. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information...
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
Well, I am not.
Yes, affair. So then, while the day...
An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs? More attacks, just as predicted.
Good God. There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, man. Captain, I'm right behind you.
We can't ever
Let's get down there.
everything you've got!
Stop!